And another one. We back with another episode of GhodCast PodCast. Episode 4, baby. Let's get it rocking. Now, Thanksgiving just passed. Great holiday, great food. Fortunately for me, and unfortunately, I got to make money, but I didn't get to see family members. But we did call each other and communicate, so that's good enough for the holidays. Outside of that, though, I would have to say this. Come next year, my biggest focus is going to be simply on building relationships and maximizing everything that I've built up into 2022. There will be no more redefining anything as far as, or reinventing anything as far as what I have to offer. What I have to offer is already set in stone. Next year, 2023, we maximizing. All 2023, we maximizing. Okay? Because there's a lot of things going on, especially political. It's a lot of shifts happening come 2023. And we need to really be prepared for 2024. Okay? I know we like, man, bro, chill. You 2023. But just trust me in where I'm going with this. We need to be prepared for 2024. Because there's a lot of things that 2023 are going to be setting up for the future. And fortunately for some of us, we're not going to get caught in the loop of trying to figure out what it is in life we want to do. So we won't get caught up in too much of the antics, but we still need to be knowledgeable and aware of what's going on so that we can properly plan ahead. Because that's a lot of our problems, is that we don't plan ahead and we end up falling behind when it's too late. So we scrambling, trying to catch up in everything. So let's make sure that 2024, we're focusing on establishing ourselves. We should already have goals. We should already have our dreams and everything we know we want to do. Let's capitalize on that now. We done putting stuff together in the lab. We done trying to figure out what's good and what's not. We should know these things by now. Come 2023, we surfing waves all year. So, one thing that I want to get into this episode, I want to specifically talk to the teenage young men. I want to talk to the teenage young men. We live in a world where sex is hyper-sexualized. Or better yet, sex is hyper-promoted. It's hyper-marketed. Everyone's putting sex out there. When I was young, sex was almost a taboo. I'm a little bit older. Sex is the thing now, it's popping. So I want to give insight to the teenagers coming up in this era. And maybe I can give them a little spin on how to attack their teenage years to set them up for success as men. So hear me out, young men. Try to hold on to that virginity as long as possible. And here's why I'm telling you to do that. Sex can wait. Your goals can't. Your life can't. The track you're on can't wait. The track you on can't wait for you. So thinking that losing your virginity early is a benefit, there's no benefit to losing your virginity early. Is there a benefit to losing it late? But there's no benefit to losing it early. I will say this though, when you're a teenager in this age, in this era, you have a better chance at being unique and standing out in a positive light than we did when we was teenagers, people in my generation. When we were teenagers, we were looked at as weirdos and outcasts when we wasn't having sex, or people were questioning our sexuality if we wasn't having sex. You guys don't have that. You could stand up and say, hey, I'm going to hold on to my virginity until marriage, or either until I'm old enough to understand what sex does in a relationship and be praised for that. So I want to give that insight to the young people, to the young men specifically, that may not be aware of the prize in possessing your virginity until you're truly wise enough to use sex. Sex is an instrument that can be played beautifully. Like myself. When it comes to that, yo, I ain't gonna say no names, but somebody in heaven that was musically inclined on the inside. So I would have to say I'm pretty much like that. I'm like that in the bedroom. But that's not the most important aspect of me. And a lot of guys, that's all they got going for them. A lot of older guys, you know what I'm saying, 35, 40, 45. Most of them pride themselves on the bedroom or the bag. Teenagers, listen close. It's a lot more, way more to life than just the bag and the booty, man. I promise you that. It's a side of life where the bag and the booty mean absolutely nothing to your success. That's the side of life I'll stand on. Is it the most exciting side of life? Not even close. Is it worth it though? 10,000%. Would I trade it? No, because I could, but I won't because it's not necessary. The only thing necessary to do is literally get accomplished. Because you'll realize the older you wait to get accomplished, the less ability you have to become accomplished. Now, I'm not saying if you've been accomplished for years, it's harder to stay accomplished. That's false. But what I'm saying is if you hold off, if you bullshit, if you play games, if you wait around, if you waste time all the way up until you're old enough to establish yourself, I promise you it's going to be a lot harder for you to do so because there's a lot of mistakes you need to make. And if you make them later on, then you won't be an expert till much later on. So you might as well start as early as possible. Not saying as young as possible, but I'm saying as early as possible so that you can have a shorter time when you get older making mistakes and you can spend an extended period of time mastering or exerting your mastery, right? So if you can hold off on your high sex drive and you can hold off on focusing on getting women while you're in your teens, I promise you will have an outstanding perception of reality, or at least of your reality, by the time you figure yourself to be a man. And that's not what a lot of people understand, and a lot of people don't know. A lot of fathers don't even know this type of stuff. A lot of older men don't even know this type of stuff. There's benefits to doing what the word says. Now, whatever spiritual being or higher power or energy you believe in or resonate with, that's fine. And I know there's codes of conduct that comes with each religion. But in the spirit of life, there's a cardinal rule. Never give up what you don't have to get what you want, because you can't afford it and you end up going in debt. So never give up what you don't have to get what you want. And we do that. If you don't think that makes sense, like how can I give something I don't have? Look at people that are more impoverished than you. Look at people that have a hard time accepting reality. Look at people that have a hard time being accountable. Then you will see giving what you don't have to get what you want. You can't do that, especially as a youngin', because what you're going to end up doing is literally moving yourself out of the way of your own life and putting somebody else in position of you to be you. And you're going to hate it. You're going to hate yourself for doing that. So don't even go down that road. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Hold on to that virginity. Them women can wait. I promise you. Or whatever you into, it all can wait. I promise you, young man. Or whatever you think you got to have right now outside of your priorities, I promise you it will be there in a much better version in that position when you get there. I promise you. Because there's levels to everything. You may think that, this gold right here. There's gold everywhere. And there's different qualities of gold. You have alloy gold, you have pure gold, white gold. You see what I'm saying? There's different levels to gold. So that's the same thing with success and women and money. It's different levels to all of it. So don't just get caught up and glamorized by one level. when you can get better. A lot of us think we can't do better than what we can do, but you can always do better. You can always do better. You can always do better. We don't hear that enough in our culture. We don't hear that enough in our upbringing. Is that, yeah, you can always do better. You can always make improvements. But what you can't always do is take certain things back. It's just certain things you can't take back. So when you're young, you may think you could do stuff and it's not going to follow you or it's not going to catch up with you. But I promise you, what you do now will directly affect what you get to do later on. When you think in that thought process, you can't help but to make sure you're doing the right things with your life. And that's the key. That's the key to all of this. Don't get overwhelmed by the media. Don't get underwhelmed at home. Don't get underwhelmed with your goals. Keep it all leveled out. Make sure you're putting the same energy in across the board. Because listen, young fellas, it's going to be you. It's going to be you all's responsibility to make happen what needs to be done. And there's no way around that. You can maybe miss out on your portion, but that just means that's your chance you miss. God gonna always have options. He gonna always have a 1 or 2, a A, a B, a C, a Z, a G, a D, whatever he needs, he gonna have that. So don't ever think that if you don't do it, it ain't gonna get done. Because I promise you, he could find somebody faster and better. He could find somebody quicker and calmer. He could find whoever he wants. He could put together the person. He could put him in a womb so he could birth the new nation. Don't ever worry or think beyond your scope of action because the rest is in God's hands. So if you have a task, a beautiful blessing, utilize it. Put it on the map. Put it first. Even before you, put it first because there are going to be times you don't even feel like doing something. There's going to be time you get in the way of you. But if you have that in the back of your mind, you're going to keep going. You see what I'm saying? If you have in the back of your mind that, hey, if I don't get this done, I'm going to miss my chance. Versus if I don't get this done, hey, it's whatever. All right. And when you see somebody else doing what you want to do within the next few years and they doing it better, but with the same foundation you had, don't say nothing. Keep that same energy. You see what I'm saying? Keep that exact same energy. Because that's what you're going to have to do. You're not going to be able to go back and try to change things. You have to deal with it. So, young man, if you're not going to take anything away from what I say, if you want to lose your virginity early, if you want to party your youth away, cool. But take this right here away with you. It's not fair to you to live a life in distrust in private. What do I mean by that? It's not fair to you to live in distrust of yourself in private because sometimes people don't make it back from that. And that's the dark reality of not being accomplished. It's not lacking women. It's not lacking material. It's not being popular. None of that matters at all in the grand scheme of things. It's not being able to trust yourself. When you tell you something, you don't believe it. When you tell you to do something, you don't stand on it. But you blow with the wind of everyone else's words and commands. You won't appreciate yourself like that. I promise you. Because you're going to see the value you lack personally. And it's going to create something in you that may create detriment, may create desire. But in the first place, don't even get into that predicament. Stay solid. I encourage you to try to stay as solid as the ground you walk on. But I know that's tough a lot of times because there's a lot of influences and a lot of things pulling us 100 million different ways. But I promise you, go your path, go your way. If you went to sports, attack it. If you went to the arts, attack it. If you went to finances, attack it. Tech, attack it. It does not matter what you get down on. As long as you get to it, get through it, and get it going, you're golden. And that is a promise. Now, after you establish yourself, then, and only then, and I don't mean accomplish your wildest dreams, but what I mean is once you get into a position in life where you can make decisions, stand on them and deal with the repercussions thereafter, whether good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what I mean by establish. So young men, once you establish yourself, right, and you're in a position to make decisions and stand on them, then consider having a relationship with a young woman, right? Only then can you consider having a relationship, just in general. If women not your thing, cool. Only then, once you establish, can you foster up the idea to develop a relationship with someone else. Okay? And here's another gem I'm going to drop on you. But before I drop that gem, I want to take the time to let the people know. If you're interested in advertising your brand, I will place a brand ad here just for you and your brand. All you have to do is email GhodCast@gmail.com for inquiry on how and how much, and I'll be glad to give you that information. Now, let's get right back into it. Now, young man, continuing the script. Once you establish and you can start fathoming the idea of a relationship, here's the first thing you're going to want to do. And I'm talking about teenagers from 19 to 13. Here's the first thing you're going to want to do after you establish yourself. Listen close, you're going to want to drop everything your parents taught you about relationships. Yep, I said that correctly. You are going to drop everything your parents told you about relationships because that information is outdated and it is not relevant to you. That was relevant to how they became in love and you got here. It has no relevance to how you are going to get into the same position that they got in. This is what you do. You drop it all completely and you start off slow. You start off just dating. And dating in a friendly manner. Do not date officially. And this is what I'm saying. Don't date somebody with your whole heart set on getting them in the end. No, because you need to learn yourself around women or your interests. You need to learn yourself around that. So don't just be so gung-ho to tie a woman up. Get into your bag. Get into the dating scene. The dating scene is a different monster in 2022. I'll tell you that. If you're 18, 19, and you're dating, it's a different monster than what we had to deal with. Now, the monsters we got to deal with now, that's a whole nother podcast episode. Shout out Mike Tyson, too. These raps, Mike Tyson, second to none. I have yet to rap my recreation in a better rap than Mike Tyson's raps. Terpene infused. No, I'm not sponsored. No, this is not an advertisement. I'm just letting y'all know. I put that joint in the joint, you heard? After you drop what your mama and them told you, and then you establish yourself, you start friendly dating. Figure out who am I when it comes to dating? Who am I in a relationship? What do I like? What do I dislike? 75 to 65% of that should be figured out based off what you know about you. That other 35, 25%, you're going to have to spend learning about them, because that other 35% is going to be about them. The other 35, 25% is going to be about them. That's what's going to give you your 100 in a relationship. You bring your 65, 75% of you at 100% figured out for yourself. Then in a relationship, you at 60%. You start at about 65%. That other 35% is about what you learn about them and how you interact with that. You know how much time that truly takes to learn somebody? This is what I'm saying. When people truly look at the scope of involving themselves with another person, things will drastically change. The patience will increase and the ignorance will decrease, because it's a staggering amount of ignorance out now based off how people treat people. A lot of people are trying to rush people to fulfill their goals in their life. Like, don't think that I'm going to get on tomorrow because you come in and you own and I want to rock with you. Nah. If that ain't enough time for me, I'm telling you that now. Tomorrow ain't enough time for me to pop off on what I got going on. So, if you already good, you good. And this is for the young men. This is what I'm telling the young men. Don't beat yourself in the head and don't speed up your process for nobody. Don't even speed up your process for you. Don't get excited and thirsty like, oh, shit, I'm going crazy. Nah, bro. Stay down till you come up. Stay all the way down till you come up. Because that's the only way you're going to truly progress. I see a lot of people go nowhere fast. You feel what I'm saying? I see a lot of people going nowhere fast. Don't be one of those. Slow down, ain't no rush. I'm in my prime right now, so I'm definitely not in a rush. But it's my prime, so it's time, so I'm on it. You feel me? But am I rushing? No. Am I busting my head open because of what somebody else telling me? No. I'm literally going at God's pace for me. And if you in tune with him and in yourself, you will see. You will get those feelings. You will get that feeling of anxiousness. You will get that feeling of anxiety when somebody comes into your life and they pushing you in the wrong direction, or they pushing you too far along in your direction sooner than you ready. God made everybody an individual for a reason. If he wanted us to move at each other's own pace, he'd make us all Siamese. He'd make us all Siamese, where we attach at the hip and I can't move this way if you move that way, or we're going to pull apart and rip shit. You feel me? He ain't got it like that. He got to set up where each man is his own man, with special cases of Siamese twins being born, or, being on Earth. Special cases. It's a rare thing. Not common. It's not as 2,000% not as common as an individual walking around. So let's stop attaching ourselves to the hip, to situations, people, places, and things, when we free to move and roam this land. See what I'm getting at? When I was young, as far as my teens, because I'm young as a man now, but when I was young in my teens, I held my virginity down. But I lost it because I was only holding it because God said not to. No. And God didn't stop me from losing it because that was my only premise. Now, if I truly understood why he understood like I do now, why he said not to then, and then I made that decision, he would have protected me from losing it. But because I had the selfish, impotent idea and premise of, oh, it's in the Bible, so I'm not going to do it, with no understanding and no grounding. When the opportunity came and I took it, there wasn't no resistance. And that opened up a whole can of different lifestyle that I live. And when it comes to stuff like that, you got to be very careful, because the only person at risk is you. Not the situation, not the merchandise, not the material. The only person at risk When you make decisions and you live in life, it's you. Even if you're doing nothing perfectly wrong, even if you're doing everything perfectly right, the risk and the reward is all on you. So, yes, your mom's is going to tell you what makes sense under her rules, where she pays the bill. So is your father. Your father is going to tell you things that make sense where he pays the bills at, where he has things structured at his level of experience, life, and knowledge. When you get to the point, that stuff is not going to apply. So you're going to have to know how, what, when, where to apply new stuff. You're going to have to learn new stuff in general. And don't be scared, bro. Don't be scared. I know as a young man, it's nerve-wracking in this day and age. Don't be scared and don't get lost. Be you, man. Don't fold. Don't fold to the peer pressure, I promise you. You end up doing some weird shit that you can't take back and you're going to regret, and it's going to be in your record, and the only way to get away from it is to lie about it. And if you watch my last episode, we ain't doing that. So slow down. Slow down. When it's a 1 in front of your age, slow down. When there's a 1 in front of your age, slow down. Don't get into no weird shit that you're going to have to try to repent for the rest of your life for. And God ain't going to be listening because he told you. He told you, leave that alone. It just got to make sense, young man. It got to make sense what we do. It got to make sense how we think about women. It got to make sense how we feel when things don't go our way. It just all have to make sense. I'm not saying it has to be goody two-shoes all the time, but what I'm saying is whatever you choose to put out there got to make sense because it's coming back. And it's coming back full speed. Now, I've done a lot of good. I've done a lot of positive. And it's coming back to me full speed. But I made a certain prayer where it couldn't come soon enough. I prayed a certain prayer, so it couldn't come soon enough. But it's coming right on time as I speak, because that's what I prayed for. But I said that to say, play your game, stay in your lane. Make your change and stand on your name. It sound corny, it's rhyming, but I promise you, that's the realest stuff you're going to hear as a young man. Do what your emotions tell you to do. Do what your body tell you to do. Because they all should be lined up with the Trinity. Body, mind, and the spirit. They all should be one anyway. So do what the emotions tell you to do. See what I'm saying? Do what the body tell you to do. Because it should be telling you to do exactly what your spirit has on this blueprint for you. And if it ain't, you already know something wrong with that. You gotta go back to the drawing board. Because the devil ain't got no sympathy. The devil ain't got an ounce of sympathy. He don't want you to suffer. He don't want you to be successful if it ain't without him. I don't care which one you do. He really doesn't. He could give you the power and ability to do either. I don't care which one you do, but if you ain't doing it with him, that's what's crushing him. That's what's putting a stop on the world. That's what's getting closer to God. I could get money 1,000,010 ways. Don't ever sleep on that idea about me. I could get bread 10 million ways and have $6 trillion. But what the world don't know, and what I truly don't care to tell them, what I'm telling you, young man, is that I am listening to God's direct orders. And I don't care what it looks like on the surface for people to see. What he say do, it literally is reflected in my lifestyle that another person can see. So I have to stand tall on my 10, because when somebody else see it, they may say something that's not true about it. They may speak irrelevantly on the situation or the fact because they don't know. We perish for the lack of. We already know this. So that's what I'm saying. I'm a living example That's what's different between me and everybody else, is that I'm a living example. It's not past tense. I'm in the moment of these things I speak of. And I say these things. Verily unto you. Go forth and be great. Watch for the devil. I'm not saying keep your eyes on him, because God is the prize. But what I'm saying is be aware of his presence, because he can get into bed with you and you won't know it. This is to my teens. This is to my teen men, young teen men. This is to you. Because I had my granny telling me about God when I was young. I had my uncle telling me about life and his past and how growing up his way made him do what he do today. I had that when I was young. So I want to give that out to a place where it may or may not be present. It doesn't even matter if it's already there. I still want to amplify then. If you already got it, I want to amplify. If you're missing it, I want to provide. Be focused. Concentrate. Remember? Concentrate. They don't say that word. They just say focus, because they know focus can go in and out. Just like an eye. Focus can go in and out. I bet it's cinematic, right? If I put my hand closer, the focus change. Concentrate. They want your focus. That's why they tell you to do it. They tell you to focus so they can change your focus when they want to. Concentrate, though. It'll make your whole life a lot better. But hey, who am I? Thanks for y'all for tuning in. It has been a great episode, and there's many more to come. Young man, make sure you respect your parents, respect your elders, and respect the lifestyle you live, because you can't go beyond who you are. You can only be you. Follow me. Instagram, _RoseGod, _. TikTok, RoseGod. YouTube, GhodCast, PodCast. Email me, GhodCast. And, you know what I'm about to say. Like, subscribe, notification bell, comment, share. Stay blessed.